So now we'll play the schedule game as we welcome in Richard Skinner. We have our crystal ball. We're going to look into the future, see what we think the Bengals record is going to be, Skinny.
Does that light up?
It's lit up. You can't really tell because, you know, the studio lights, but it's lit up, and I'm looking into it, and boy, your future doesn't look good.
No,
but anyway,
the
Bengals' future, let's start things off. Week 1, they got a really interesting game. The Minnesota Vikings coming to Paul Brown Stadium. Yeah,
Vikings are a 2.5-point favorite by the early line. That's probably right. I mean, that's kind of a guessing game at this point. But I would say this, I mean, you are in a spot where this is not a great Vikings team. If you think you've improved, you need to win this game. At home, the opener, if Joe Burrow's healthy, all these things are all equal, right? But if Joe Burrow's healthy, then yes, you win this football game.
We can look into the future all we want, but we cannot predict injuries or anything else. So this
correct.
This
is all things being equal.
Exactly. Just looking at it from what it is. Week 2, then after the Vikings, they hit the road. The Chicago Bears and maybe Justin Fields, maybe
Andy Dalton. All right. So here's the thing: you didn't like Andy Dalton as your quarterback, right? Justin Fields is probably nowhere close being ready to play. So which one is the lesser of two evils? I feel good about this game, too, and I don't want to be a homer because I'm certainly not, but I feel good about this game as well. 2-0 start, really? Really?
You're going 2-0 already.
I know.
I'll give them 1-1. I think they can win one of these games, but
you're probably better off than I am with that. But go ahead.
You know, I'm a cynic. So week 2, they go to Chicago. Week 3, a big one, a rematch with the Steelers. Everybody's down on the Steelers, but even a down Steelers team can easily go 8-8.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are terrible. I think they're honestly the worst team in the division. But if it's me playing on one leg, trying to throw a pass for the Steelers, I'm winning. Bengals can't beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They can beat the Steelers anywhere. I don't care who's playing, what it is. They just cannot. Steelers are bad. They don't win this game.
All right. Not going to win in Pittsburgh. Week 4, where the Bengals going? They're coming home, and they're welcoming Mr. Urban Meyer back to the city of Cincinnati, back to the state of Ohio, and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Joe Burrow was last year, and honestly, I think as a prospect, I know everybody's talking about Trevor Lawrence being the transformational prospect of all times. Joe Burrow is not too far behind, and Joe still struggled to win games. He didn't struggle to do well, but he struggled to win games. The team around him wasn't very good. Same for Jacksonville. They're not very good. This is a Thursday night, prime time. All things being equal, this could be the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow show. I'm going to go the Bengals 3-1 here after that Thursday night game. They get a long week, and then where do we go from there, Chris?
Well, we go week 5, the Packers coming to Paul Brown.
And we've talked about all things being equal, so we're going to say all things being equal. Aaron Rodgers
is a Packer.
Quarterback's the Packers. If that's the case, the Bengals don't win this game. But if it's Jordan Love, I mean, you're looking at a schedule break so far, to be honest with you, in theory and in potential. So I'm still going Green Bay. But if it's not Aaron Rodgers, then I'm going Bengals. But yeah, we're going to go for all things being equal, 3-2.
It's hard to say because, I mean, who knows where Aaron Rodgers is going to be. He could be a Bengal.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not. All right, week 6, moving on. The Bengals at the Lions. Another team, I don't really know what the Lions, they're bad, but new coaches, new quarterback, who knows?
I'm with you. And every year, though, if we're going all things being equal, there's a game where you just go, how did they lose that game? On the road, after the Thursday night game, into the game we just talked about, Green Bay. It could snowball. This is the biggest 50-50 game maybe on the whole schedule. Honestly, this really and truly is. I'll go Lions.
He'll go Lions. Always give the benefit of the doubt to the guys at home, even if it is the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Moving on to week 7 for the Bengals. This is where I think the road gets very interesting because up until this point, you've only played the Steelers. Now you're going to start seeing the rest of the division.
And that's the thing, and not to backtrack a ton, but if this team is not 4-2 after the first 6, I think you're in a really difficult spot, and they could be anywhere from 4-2 to 2-4. Hopefully on the 4-2 side, because they're not winning this. They're not winning that game. They're just not. Sorry, they're not.
I'm getting sick of holding this thing, so I'm going to put this down on the ground as we move on to week 8, and they get the Jets. Now another team like Detroit. They have some talent there. What are they going? New coaching staff. I don't really know what to expect.
Great offseason for them. I think they're more in a position than kind of in the position the Bengals were last year. Rookie quarterback, got some talent around, not quite there yet. Maybe an offseason or 2 away. I think the Bengals go steal this game because the Bengals are further ahead than the Jets are. So we're at 4-4 at the break, maybe, or 5-3ish. We're there. We're close.
Better than last year, the last few years as they head into week 9. Remember, their bye week is week 11. This is one I think a lot of people are eager to see. Battle for Ohio.
Yeah, and listen, I think the Browns are arguably one of the 3 best teams in the AFC and maybe even the 2nd best team behind Kansas City. The fact they come here for this game, we'll talk about the one later. I'm going to lean Bengals coming out of the bye here just because I gave them that win over the Jets for a little momentum's sake, so we're at 5-4.
5-4, and I will say this, no matter what happens each year, where each team is, it seems like the Browns and the Bengals always split.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll give them benefit of the doubt at home.
Unless Johnny Manziel quarterback.
Well, that's a dark time. Nobody wants to talk about that. Moving on to Week 11. Week 10 is the bye week. The Raiders, another team. Boy, I know the Bengals' schedule is projected to be really hard, but there are a lot of toss-up teams here that could be good, but we don't really know.
Correct, because I don't know, is Derek Carr going to be their quarterback? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be their quarterback? I mean, who knows who their quarterback's going to be? And at that point, is John Gruden, he's not on the hot seat. He's got a 10-year contract, but are things going haywire? Things going downhill? I'll go the Raiders just because it's a road game. It's a West Coast-ish road game. Yeah, I'll go the Raiders to make it 5-5. But yeah, this is another toss-up. There's a bunch of those so far.
Week 12, moving on, another matchup with the Steelers. Can they pull off the upset 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I think at home. I think last year might have been that line of demarcation of they're still not good enough to win in Pittsburgh, and this year they may be. I just think Pittsburgh's bad. I think they're a bad football team. I think they're like a 5 or 6 win football team. If that's the case, Bengals have to win this game at home. I don't think this will be an upset. In fact, I think it's potentially the Bengals are favored, so I'll go with them with the win. So we're to 6-5 now with the Bengals.
My, how the turntables have turned with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving on to Week 13. The Chargers, this is one that I had circled when it came out because I love the idea of the 2 alternate versions of each other because they've made similar yet different moves, and this is going to be really a test for this Bengals
Yeah, they
team.
both went rookie quarterback last year. One team went wide receiver, one team went offensive line, and they kind of built themselves a little bit differently, but both. I think the Chargers are one of those teams, if you're sleeping on one of those that didn't do well last year making the playoffs, and it happens every year, there's 5, 6, 7 teams that do it, the Chargers would be one I would absolutely circle. Not good enough to beat Kansas City, but certainly good enough to be a wild card. Oh man, this is a real toss-up too. I'll go Chargers because I think they are better in a playoff team, and I don't think the Bengals are. So we're to 6-6. But again, man, I could do this all day with this game too.
And really, 2 second-year quarterbacks trying to avoid the sophomore slump
right.
as we move on.
I don't think they will. I think they're both really good.
They're probably both pretty safe. Moving on to Week 14. Bengals and the 49ers, another game. You want to talk about who knows? 49ers, is it going to be Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo? Right. Is it going to be Trey Lance?
Or it could be the 4th-string quarterback, and who knows, Nick Mullins again for the 63rd time. I'll go Bengals just because of that reason. There's a part of me that thinks at this point they're to the Trey Lance portion of the program. If not, then that doesn't bode well because it means Jimmy G's probably playing really well and they're a playoff caliber team. I could see Jimmy G being a trade chip at some point for them. I'll go Bengals here just because they're at home and because I don't know the 49er question at quarterback. It's a legitimate one because nobody knows.
West Coast teams coming to the East Coast, never really a good thing.
And hang on, and here we go, the gauntlet.
Here's the gauntlet, Week 15. The Broncos in Denver.
And they're not good, but on the road in Denver, it's not a great place for the Bengals to play for whatever reason. I don't think Denver's great, but it starts that gauntlet because we'll get to the next few games. This is just a tough spot. I'm going to take an L here for the Bengals as well.
Moving on, Week 16. Boy, if it wasn't already a long season, you're going all the way to Week 16, the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me a percentage.
Move along. Just move along.
0? 0.0?
0.035. Move along.
0.035. All right, Chiefs winning that one. I think everybody gets it. And then the season finale at the Browns. You're talking about 2 teams. At this point, if we're going by what your predictions are, Bengals could be a fringe, looking at a wild card spot against the Browns team who we think is going to beat.
I've got them fading a little bit at this point, and I do think Cleveland's really good, so I don't see them going up to Cleveland and winning at that point. I don't.
Fair enough. Hard to win in the land, especially with the Browns team that we expect to be contenders. So at this point, what are we at?
I'm going anywhere from 7-10 to 10-7, and that's my pipe dream, 10-7. The big part for them is those first 6 games, you've got to be 4-2. You just have to be 4-2. If not, I think you face an uphill climb. And I think for Zach Taylor, if it's worse than 4-2, if it's 2-4 with Baltimore looming, job status is on the line, and then Katie bar the door for the rest of the schedule. I do think this team is much better, though.